Well, we're just nearing the final segment of the Week 4 episode of Testosterone Fantasy Sports. You've been watching Jeff and Yeastie breaking down all of the action from the NFL gridiron for your fantasy football team. We'd like to thank you once again for joining us. We'll just take a moment right now to encourage you to go on to testosteronesports.com, log in, check out all the different things we've got going on there. We've got writer pages. We've got rankings on there. We've got a bench start on there and the fat chat. We'd love for you to come on and chat with us. Let us know what you think about the show. Give us any feedback that you got, any kind of lineup questions or trade type questions, or just pick our brains, anything that you have. And I'll tell you that it really helps me when the junkies come on, GC, because I like asking other people about who I should start too, because coaching is so crucial in fantasy football.
Yeah, I mean, come on right after the show airs, tfsonline.com, testosteronesports.com. Either one of those is going to work for you. Come into the fat chat. We'll both be there. I always throw out, people always ask me things, but I always ask everybody else what they think about matchups as well. So, we're so-called experts, but, I still make mistakes too. Like I left Anquan Bolden on the bench last week. So, what are we going to do with it?
We're self-proclaimed NFL experts.
Oh no, we're NFL experts, bro.
You have to understand that we've learned through hard effort and sweat and blood and tears that it's true, and we've learned how to balance the fact that the angle of our dangle is definitely in direct proportion to the curve of our swerve. And because of that, we've been able to find nice success on the fantasy field. Okay. And everybody at home, that's all this. It's a simple Rubik's Cube type of problem that you have to solve. Once you solve that, you'll be able to win too. So the angle of your dangle has to be in direct proportion to the curve of your swerve. Figure that out, and you'll roll successfully. A lot like Pittsburgh is going to roll when they travel down to Arizona here this weekend. Ken Weisenhunt getting a chance to show his former team what they're missing out on when they decided not to hire him for the young Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin coming into Pittsburgh, really making an impact. Their defense looking superb. Their offense dealing with some injury grizzle right now. It doesn't look like Hines Ward might not be able to play in this game, but I really like Willie Parker in this matchup a lot. I think he could go over the 100-yard mark and finally get in the end zone here this weekend.
Swerve, curve, angle, and dangle.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think I might have that. I think I might have it.
Well,
now, what game are we talking about?
I know you got a hard time in the tough league, man.
What game are we talking about?
And I'm telling you that if you figure out that equation, dude, you're going to be successful.
All right, I got it. So we're talking about Pittsburgh and Arizona.
At Arizona,
okay.
That's
all right,
correct.
I got it. All right, Hines Ward, did you bring him up yet?
Yep, I brought up
well,
Hines
he's
Ward.
probably going to be out. Mm-hmm. So Nate Washington, Cedric Wilson, both of those guys you can fill in for Hines Ward if you need to help fill out your bye weeks. Antonio Holmes should pop pretty well.
Yep.
On the Arizona side of the ball, I don't know if it's going to be Kurt Warner after a quarter.
It'll be interesting.
It's going to be Kurt Warner in the third quarter.
I mean, we saw Matt Leinart get benched last week.
Yeah, he got benched.
Not injured.
Not once, but twice. So he got benched, and then he came back in, and then he got benched again, and then Kurt Warner lit up Baltimore in the fourth quarter. Yeah. But they also changed a little bit of their defensive calls in the fourth quarter like they did against the Jets as well. Yeah. Leinart's going to get the start, but I'm telling you, he's going to get smacked a couple times right in the mouth, and I wouldn't be too confident in Leinart right now.
The Steelers excellent at getting after the football, especially getting after the pass rush. I'm not real high on Edgerrin James here this weekend. The passing game, I think it's going to be Bolden again more than Fitzgerald, primarily because the development of the quarterback situation in Arizona is tenuous, and it looks like Matt Leinart might be in jeopardy of losing his job for the time being. So if that team wants to win, they're going to stick with the hot hand. I think that we might see Kurt Warner again.
I think at some point we probably will see Kurt Warner. I wouldn't put too much faith in everything that's going on in the Arizona offense right now. One guy that I think you can count on to get some points in this game, because I think Arizona is going to be behind, Marcel Shipp. If you need a running back, he's great out of the backfield for them, and he could get you some garbage points. Be one of those guys where everybody's like, this guy's starting Marcel Shipp, and then he ends up getting you 8 to 10
No
points.
more wasting time on Marcel Shipp.
So.
Denver going to Indianapolis in a premier matchup of the weekend. I really like Denver to shut down the passing game this weekend. I think Denver's got the best secondary in the league with Champ Bailey on one side and Dre Bly on the other. And it makes me think that Reggie Wayne is going to be way more productive. I'm benching Marvin Harrison because of how good Champ Bailey is. And although this game is in the Dome in Indianapolis, I like a die still to get the running game going, but I just don't think that Indy is going to be able to get the pass going against the Denver defense.
There's two things that are going to happen in this game. Number one, Joseph Adai is going to be the leading scorer for running backs throughout the league this week. Number 2, my second injury prediction of the week, Travis Henry's going to go down. Not out forever, but he's going to go down. So he's going to go down. I'm actually benching Peyton Manning in favor of Matt Schaub in the tough league.
Oh my goodness gracious, dude!
I'm not kidding you.
Kicked off the show.
I'm not kidding you. I'm benching
You're
Peyton
crazy.
Manning in favor of Matt Schaub. And
Come on, don't be crazy.
In our format, Matt Schaub's going to get more points than Peyton Manning this week. So.
Okay. Well, I don't think that Travis Henry is going to get injured, but I do think that Indianapolis has shown a real propensity to stopping the run. So temper your expectations on what Henry's going to bring to the table, although I think he could get into the end zone. One thing of note also on an injury tip, Javon Walker has got swelling in the knee, so you're going to want to keep an eye on that. He's going to likely be a game-time decision in my opinion. Brandon Marshall should make a decent start, but this game has all the look of a high-scoring affair, and I think it's going to be low-scoring because of that.
Really?
I do.
Wow. I think you can run on Denver. You can pass on Indianapolis. So, I think that it's going to be. I think it's probably going to be one of those 30 to 24 type games. I think Indianapolis is going to win. I look for Joseph Adai to have 3 touchdowns, and you can't really bench any of your guys in this game other than Peyton Manning, of course, in my opinion.
Cuckoo.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you.
One game that's going to have very little defense, in my opinion, is Philadelphia at the Giants. The Giants came through in a major way last weekend, going and beating the upstart Washington Redskins, and now they're home against Philadelphia in another NFC East divisional matchup of great importance. I actually really like the Giants passing game to get going this weekend. I think that Eli could have a really nice game. He led the charge in their comeback, and I think that confidence is the kind of thing that's really going to bode well for them and his development. The thing that I'd like to see him do is to get in the weight room and put on some weight because he looks a little small out there.
Yeah, well, if anybody should know about putting on weight, it will be me. And Eli, I'm not sold on Eli yet. The team did look like they rallied around him last week. Mm-hmm. I'm happy for him. Seems like a decent guy. I'm so tired of those, oh shucks, I just jacked up the game looks that they seem to put on him every time whenever he does something wrong. But he should make a good play as long as he can stay off the ground because Philadelphia, they can sack the quarterback like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Burris should be solid. Really his ankle's been an issue. He's actually going to see an ankle specialist. Amani Toomer makes a good bye week fill-in. Derek Ward and Reuben Jones could both get some points for you as well. But on the Philly side of the ball, Kevin Curtis had such a big game.
Don't expect that to happen again. I really don't think that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to pop that crazy.
No, absolutely
Although
not.
You do want to keep them in the lineup because the Giants defense, although they will be up for this game, it's a sieve for fantasy points. And you got to keep Brian Westbrook in your lineup. That guy's going to be crazy this weekend. He's my pick of player of the week here for this weekend. I think that his role continues, and I'm not buying the knee grizzle that they were talking about. He dealt with that same issue last year and was completely fine all year and produced as a top 5 running back. In fact, I like Westbrook so much. I had him as number 4 going into the preseason, and I believe that that's all going to start to happen going forward here starting this weekend against the Giants. New England at Cincinnati, enormo Monday nighter. It's going to be great. I think New England's going into Cincinnati with some crazy momentum.
Yeah, nobody's played better so far than New England has. 38 points each of the first 3 weeks. No real reason to see why they're not going to score a lot of points that, if they wanted to.
Cincinnati's defense not very good.
Cincinnati's defense is horrible. One thing I look to happen is Bill Belichick, knowing that everybody expects a shootout, is probably going to try to keep the Cincinnati offense off the field by working the ground game with both his guys now. Sammy Morris is starting to come out as a fantasy player, and he's taken a lot of points away from Lawrence Maroney. So both of those guys should be in your starting lineup, in my opinion.
Yep. I think this is the week that Maroney gets in the end zone.
I hope so.
He's the big play type of guy that he might, they might be approaching him like, if you want to get in the end zone, you got to earn it. Get it from 20 yards out. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him pop a long one, possibly out of the passing game, although it wouldn't surprise me to see him get loose on a rushing tip either. The passing game is going to be as good as ever. Start Moss. One surprise, in my opinion, has been the non-existence of Dante Stallworth. I thought that they would need him to take the pressure off Randy. Randy's just it's like he's a super freak or something.
Yeah, something like that. Megatron or super freak, you never know. But
that's a different number 81.
I think that Wes Welker is the guy that's key in this reemergence for Randy Moss. And Wes Welker should be in your starting lineup as well. Dante Stallworth, there's so many points going to be thrown around. Dante Stallworth could actually be in your starting lineup if you need him to be. He's the third option, in my opinion, on that side. Rudy Johnson's hamstring for Cincinnati right now looking iffy. If you're a Rudy owner, you better get Kenny Watson and have either of those guys ready to go for Monday night if you need them. Carson Palmer, Chad Johnson, TJ Hushmanzada, all those guys.
I like TJ Hushmanzada the most out of that equation here in this game, simply because I think that Asante Samuel is going to pair with one of the safeties, and that they're going to work to get Chad Johnson out of this game. They understand what a persona that he is, and at Cincinnati, Chad Johnson loves to get the fans involved and do something wild, and Chad Johnson would love nothing more than to get loose against the New England Patriots and might even have something cooked up for the fans. And when that momentum comes out with him in the jacket, the Hall of Fame jacket, and all that, it really makes the other team, then it takes the respect away, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't think that the Patriots are going to let him go.
Yeah, I think both of those guys still have to be in your lineup, even though Chad Johnson should be the guy that they key on. TJ's got 29 catches so far, but he's only averaging 9 yards a catch. Yeah. He's definitely the shorter take what the defense will give us guy. They're going to want to take Chad Johnson, who's averaging almost 18 yards a catch, out of the equation. Yeah. So, that's a good call on that, but I'd play them both if I had them. I don't have them in any league, so I wish I did.
Right. Well, this has been the Week 4 episode of Testosterone Sports. Thank you so very much for joining us. I'm Jeff. This is Yeastie. We do it from a grassroots effort. We know that we're not the suit-wearing regular kind of guys you see on ESPN and whatnot. We ain't bringing home a paycheck. I drive a little truck all around, not a fat sports car or anything like that. So anybody who wants to sponsor us, give us a call. You know how to find us. And other than that, anybody out there who's a fantasy football player, it's an important time of year. And so that if you want to win,
you must tune in
to Testosterone Fantasy Sports. Thanks again, everybody.